Early one morning, Chiaki and Sahara were waiting for the walk signal at the crosswalk. Sahara noticed Chiaki staring blankly again, so he lightly bopped her on the head. That snapped her back, and she told him about something strange she had heard about this crossing, that sometimes a spirit appears here, and anyone who sees the girl dies soon after. While Chiaki was telling the story, Sahara noticed a girl standing in the middle of the crosswalk. The child muttered something to Sahara. Without thinking, he stepped toward her, and in the next moment, he was struck by a truck. 3 days later, Sahara stood at the front of his school as the bell rang, signaling the start of class. He went inside, removed his shoes, placed them on the rack, and ran barefoot through the hallways. Rushing to his classroom, he greeted his classmates even though the lesson had already begun. No one reacted, not his friends, not even the teacher. Realizing this, Sahara took advantage of the situation. He moved toward the teacher's podium and peeked at his classmates' panties, which were visible from there. Still, no one noticed. No matter what he did, no one could see or hear him. Curious, he climbed onto the desks, hopping from one table to another. He stopped by Chiaki's seat and greeted her, complimenting her neat handwriting and how seriously she fit the role of class president. He crouched down and stared at her face, but she showed no reaction. Sahara moved on. He passed by Taku, who was drawing a manga in the middle of class, despite having been warned many times that doing so would get him labeled a gross otaku. Sahara told Watabe to stop picking on Taku, since it was getting annoying, and he also told Shigeru that he would not forgive him for drinking his milk. Next was Ren's desk. Her eyes were still red. Sahara quietly thanked her, knowing she had cried the most when he died. Finally, he returned to his own seat. He sat down and looked at the flower vase filled with flowers and the pictures of himself. Sahara reflected on what had happened 3 days earlier, the moment he was hit by the truck. The impact caused chaos at the crossing. Ren ran toward Chiaki, who was sitting on the ground, and asked if she was all right. Chiaki could only mutter that Sahara had been hit right in front of her, and Ren's expression immediately darkened. An ambulance soon arrived and rushed Sahara away in critical condition. Ren helped Chiaki to her feet and pulled her away from the scene. Nearby, Sahara stood beside the child he had seen earlier, watching everything unfold. He remained frozen in shock as he watched his own body being loaded into the ambulance, unable to accept what was happening. Looking around, Sahara noticed 2 students from his school arguing as they fought over taking pictures of the accident. He turned to his right and saw Taku standing there, pale and trembling in disbelief. Sahara asked Taku if he was dead, and, wondering why everyone was acting as if they couldn't see or hear him. But Taku didn't react. Instead, Taku muttered to himself that Sahara had died because of him, because he had once cursed him and wished he would die. The thought made Taku feel sick, and he suddenly vomited, causing nearby students to recoil in disgust. Sahara crouched beside him, trying to comfort him, telling him it wasn't his fault. But Taku couldn't hear a word. Elsewhere, one of Sahara's classmates confronted the student taking pictures, demanding she delete them. The girl responded by calling him a pervert and a molester. Sahara begged them to stop fighting over him, but once again, no one heard his voice. Back in the classroom, their classmates gathered around Chiaki, asking if she was all right since she had witnessed the accident. The crowd slowly closed in on her, until Ren told everyone to give her some space for now. Then one of their friends asked Ren if she was okay, mentioning that she had cared deeply about Sahara. Ren tried to deny it, but a tear slipped from her eye. She broke down, crying while still insisting it wasn't true. She apologized over and over for crying, saying that Chiaki was the one who was really hurting and that she had taken her place instead. Ren continued to apologize, but her friends, and Chiaki as well, began to comfort her instead. Back in the present, Sahara smiled as he looked at his desk. He stood and quietly thanked everyone. He apologized to Taku for being mean to him, and thanked Ren for liking him. If he were still alive, he would have gone out with her. He was grateful to have shared the same class with them, to have become their friend. He took one last look at the classroom before leaving. Since he was already dead, they probably hadn't heard any of it. After school, As the students began heading home, Sahara and the child waited by the crossing where he had died. Soon, he noticed Chiaki walking up and stopping at the same spot. Sahara called out to her, asking why she had killed him, why she had shoved him back then. He asked if she had held a grudge against him, and whether she would do it again to someone else. Of course, Chiaki couldn't hear a word. Still, Sahara and the child stared at her. Sahara was dead, so his voice would never reach her. But that didn't matter anymore. With the child, who had been waiting a long time for this, he would make sure everyone learned the truth. Chiaki would not be the only one to know what she had done. 10 years earlier, when they were still children, Sahara was running around pretending to be a kamen rider. Spotting Taku, he ran up and poked him, calling him a glass Martian. Taku screamed, and before Sahara could react, someone karate chopped him on the neck, sending him flying. It was Ren. Ren warned Sahara to stop bullying Taku, or she would beat him for real. Sahara only laughed as he ran away, calling her a gorilla and saying she had already beaten him once. Taku thanked Ren as they both watched Sahara run off to play with Chiaki and another kid. Sahara shouted for Chiaki, telling her they were going to defeat the gorilla together. He ran ahead and found Chiaki standing by the crossing. Complaining that she was late, he asked her to help them defeat the gorilla. Instead, Chiaki mentioned Michi, which surprised Sahara that Michi was coming too. Just then, Michi appeared, kneeling in the middle of the crossing and happily calling out Sahara's name. Back in the present, at the crossing, Ren stood quietly, looking at the flowers that had been left for Sahara. Suddenly, two girls passed by, speaking loudly. They noticed the flowers and wondered if someone had died in an accident there. The blonde girl called it gross, but her friend quickly dragged her away, whispering that she might get cursed for saying something like that. Ren clenched her fists, anger flaring as she watched them leave, tempted to go after them. But the feeling quickly faded, replaced by sadness. Chiaki approached and greeted her, then pointed out that Ren's nose was running. Ren hadn't even noticed she was crying again, tears mixing with her runny nose. As they headed to school and stopped by the shoe racks, Chiaki asked why Ren hadn't stayed home again today. Ren denied it, insisting she wasn't that sad. Chiaki gently asked if it had something to do with Sahara. Ren immediately turned and ran off, telling Chiaki not to worry about it. She said she was heading to the infirmary since her tears and nose wouldn't stop. In her rush, she bumped into Taku, sending the manga pages he had been drawing scattering across the floor. Taku asked if she was okay, but Ren quickly stood up and ran off, snapping at him not to bring Arrow manga to school. Ren lay down on the infirmary bed, staring at the ceiling as everything she had done replayed in her mind. She had cried in front of Chiaki, lashed out at Taku, and now wondered if she had always been this weak. Ren didn't realize she liked Sahara this much. A commotion outside pulled her thoughts away. It was the same girls she had seen at the crossing earlier. They were talking about a rumor, about a girl who appeared at the crossing, and how the recent accident made it seem real. Suddenly, a man smacked the blonde girl on the head, snapping that she never learned. The blonde snapped back, asking if it was him again and whether he had some kind of grudge against her. The two continued arguing as Ren watched from the infirmary doorway. Everyone seemed tense lately, easily angered, as if on edge. Ren lay back down, but then she caught a glimpse through the window. Sahara and Michi standing outside, watching. Before she could react, Chiaki stepped in, asking if she was coming back to class. Ren replied that she was fine now and apologized for worrying her. Chiaki brushed it off, teasing that Ren crying was kind of cute, then added more seriously that Ren should go home if she wasn't feeling well. Ren insisted she was fine, saying she wasn't that sad anyway. Still, she admitted she felt strangely relieved, as if Sahara were right beside her. She immediately apologized for saying something strange, but Chiaki simply changed the subject, mentioning that Kenta, the guy who had hit the blonde girl earlier, had been in a bad mood. Kenta, the delinquent-looking guy everyone found a little scary, had been upset ever since the accident. He was Michi's older brother. Ren asked who Michi was. Chiaki explained that years ago, there had been another accident at the crossing. Michi was the child Sahara used to play with. Chiaki added, almost softly, that Michi was really cute. After school, as Chiaki and Ren prepared to head home, Ren wanted to apologize to Taku, but Chiaki told her it was unnecessary, since it seemed like Taku was actually happy getting hit by her. Chiaki then brought up how, when they were kids, Ren and Taku used to play together all the time. Somewhere along the way in high school, they drifted apart. Ren replied that it was normal. Things change once you're in high school. Chiaki didn't quite agree. She said it felt like Taku wanted things to go back to how they used to be, and that Ren should try talking to him. Ren shook her head, saying that going back to the way things were felt impossible now, at least to her. Chiaki warned that if Ren didn't reach out, Taku might drift off somewhere. She added that Taku and Michi were alike, both shy, awkward, and easily left behind. Ren asked what kind of kid Michi had been. Chiaki explained that Michi lived in the same apartment building as them. Her parents were always working, and her older brother was busy with soccer. She was younger than the rest of them, but since she was their neighbor, Sahara and Chiaki naturally ended up looking after her. The three of them often played together back then. Michi was extremely shy. Whenever she noticed someone else nearby, she would hide. When she went missing, they would panic and search for her, only to find her hiding somewhere close. Chiaki said Michi's smile back then was cuter than anything else, and the thought that something bad might one day happen to her terrified her. After the accident, they had moved away immediately. Sahara probably never knew that. Ren apologized for asking about something so personal, but Chiaki told her it was fine. She said she was sure they were right beside her. Sahara tried to stop her, but of course, she couldn't hear him. When Chiaki and Ren reached the crossing, Chiaki rested her forehead against Ren's back and told her she didn't need to cry since Sahara was with her. Sahara's silhouette reached out, trying to stop Ren, but the signal was still red and cars continued to pass by. Chiaki wrapped her arms around Ren's shoulders and told her not to cry. When Ren cried, Chiaki felt like Ren was drifting somewhere far away, and that scared her. A transit bus approached the crossing. Sahara tried desperately to intervene, but it was useless. Suddenly, a sharp crack and a scream broke the tension. It was the blonde girl from earlier. She had dropped her phone, and a car crushed it beneath its tires. Ren let out a small chuckle, thinking the girl really was loud. The walking light finally turned green. Chiaki stepped into the crossing, then glanced back at Ren and reminded her to apologize to Taku tomorrow. Ren nodded in agreement. As they walked, Ren hesitated and brought something up. She remembered Sahara once talking about them being a trio, Sahara, Chiaki, and the cat. The cat they used to play with, the one she had once mistaken for another friend. Ren asked where the cat was now. Chiaki said it had been 10 years. The cat had died a long time ago. Her eyes darkened slightly as she added that the cat had been really cute too. Sahara found himself standing in front of a man who was supposedly able to see ghosts. Unfortunately, the guy was too busy chanting nonsense to notice him at all. He was in the middle of scamming a widow who had come to ask what her husband truly thought of her. The man claimed he could hear the husband's spirit, saying the dead man was apologizing for cheating. The widow broke down in tears, and the man casually added that her husband had died during intercourse. That was enough for Sahara. He'd had his fill of the man's bullshit and left the house. He returned to the crossing and lay down on the ground, staring up at the sky while half-heartedly planning his next move and occasionally glancing at the panties of passing students. Eventually, he sat up and turned to Michi. She had been a ghost far longer than he had, so he asked her about the spirit world. Michi didn't answer, she simply stared at him. Sahara sighed and hugged her, asking why she wouldn't talk. It had been 10 years since they last saw each other. He asked if she had seen through Chiaki's plan to kill again, if she knew that others had already died. Sahara said that the two of them were the only ones who could stop her now. They needed to gather their strength and do whatever they could. He even suggested asking other spirits for help, like the cat they used to play with. Michi still said nothing. Sahara muttered that this was getting depressing. He asked if she had always been this gloomy, and told her to remember the girl she used to be, to cry out so loudly that even the living could hear her voice. Before he could finish his rambling, a truck passed straight through him. knocking him off balance. Sahara fell face first onto the ground. He stayed there, lying at the crossing, and quietly asked Mishi what kind of girl she really was. He remembered her, but somehow couldn't recall what they used to do for fun together. Meanwhile, back at school, his classmates continued on with their lives as if nothing had changed. Sahara closed his eyes and muttered to himself that being forgotten was really hard. On the school rooftop, Taku was quietly working on his manga when the blonde girl's loud voice suddenly cut through the air. She was arguing with her friend, insisting that she didn't love Kenta. Her friend disagreed, pointing out that she talked about him all the time. The blonde girl snapped back, saying she was only talking about how he hit her. How was that love? She asked if her friend seriously thought she was a masochist. Under his breath, Taku muttered for them to shut up, thinking that this kind of nonsense was exactly why girls were so irritating. The friend admitted that Kenta did hit her, but claimed he always held back. She added that it didn't really matter, since he was hot. The blonde girl reluctantly agreed, saying his face was pretty nice. Her friend teased her about how romantic it all sounded. Taku continued mumbling insults to himself, until the blonde girl suddenly turned and called him out, telling him that if he had a problem, he should come over and say it to her face. Taku froze. He tried to tell them to keep it down, but lost his nerve and bolted instead. He ran straight into Ren, sending his manuscript pages flying everywhere. Ren looked like she wanted to say something. Panicking, Taku blushed and hurriedly placed one of his pages on the floor, offering it as a seat. Ren ignored it. She told him that Chiaki had told her to apologize, and she awkwardly began saying sorry for snapping at him earlier. Taku asked what she was apologizing for. Ren fell silent. It had been a long time since they'd spoken like this. Taku eventually said he didn't even remember the last time they talked, then correctly listing the exact number of years and days anyway. Ren admitted it wasn't that she didn't want to talk to him. They had just drifted apart. Back when they were kids, it hadn't mattered that they were a boy and a girl. They had played together with Sahara all the time. Ren found herself remembering those days, the three of them running around together. Taku told her she could talk to him the way she used to, if she wanted. Ren grew embarrassed and said he hadn't changed at all. Even when people picked on him, he stayed kind. Taku replied that Ren hadn't changed either. She was still cute, just like before. The comment caught Ren off guard, and she laughed, wondering how someone as violent as her could be called cute. Taku turned red and insisted he was serious. Ren told him to stop and brought up how Sahara used to call her a gorilla back then. Taku's expression darkened. He apologized and said that hearing about Sahara still felt wrong to him. Ren apologized too and said she should get going. Lunch was almost over. Before she could leave, Taku stopped her. He said there was nothing anyone could do about what had happened to Sahara. He was gone. He told her to forget about him, because seeing her sad was painful for him too. He preferred seeing her smile the way she used to. When Taku looked up at Ren, he saw tears welling in her eyes, and the words he was about to say died in his throat. The blonde girl muttered for them to shut up, adding that it wasn't like Ren was the one who had died, before calling everyone gross. Her friend flinched and told Mei to keep her voice down. Taku froze, caught off guard, while Ren flushed with embarrassment. Mei kept going. She said people were just trying to play the part of grieving classmates, acting like they were suffering the most. She added that what Taku had said earlier was actually more reasonable. Her friend told her she was going too far, but Mei ignored her. She brought up the earlier incident, recalling how she'd broken her phone. She mentioned how Ren had looked like she wanted to die while walking down the road. Mei laughed, wondering out loud if Ren thought there was no point in living anymore. Taku clenched his fists and whispered that what she was saying was disgusting, calling her insufferable, quietly, because he didn't have the courage to say it out loud. Ren, however, didn't argue. She agreed with Mei, calling herself disgusting. She said she wished she had died instead of Sahara, then turned and walked away. Mei shrugged and told Taku to forget about someone that annoying. She said there were plenty of other options, adding that Taku was too much baggage for Ren anyway. She even suggested he try dating boys instead, mentioning a guy who was always alone and seemed to get along with him. Finally, May's friend snapped and smacked her on the head, telling her she was too mean. She called May an idiot and pointed out that the guy she was talking about was the one who had died in the accident. May blinked and asked if she meant the one who always wore the school jacket. Her friend said yes and asked why. May frowned and said she'd always thought it was a jersey. Sahara's ghost was wearing his school jersey. May stood up, dusted herself off, and announced she was skipping class and going home. Her friend apologized to Taku before following her. Left alone on the rooftop, Taku began muttering Sahara's name over and over in a low, unsettling voice. Even though he was dead, Taku wondered why Sahara's name still refused to disappear. On her way home, May suddenly stopped in her tracks, wondering if they had recognized her. When she reached her house, her father, the scammer who claimed he could talk to spirits, greeted her and asked if she was feeling unwell. Surprised that she'd come home early, he cheerfully mentioned that he'd gotten a bonus and that they'd be having yakiniku for dinner. May ignored him and went straight to her room. She sat down, hugging her knees, quietly asking herself if she would be all right. She lowered her head, resting her forehead against her legs. Then she heard a clatter. Sahara's silhouette stood outside her window. He asked her how she knew what clothes he had been wearing when he died. May gasped, yanked the curtains shut, and kicked her door to shut out her father's voice. She rushed to her bed and pulled the blanket over herself, hiding beneath it. 10 years ago, there was a child who loved seeing the world through the lens of the phone her father had given her. That child was May. Her father worked as a spirit medium. May loved taking photos because the world she saw through the lens felt different from the one she lived in. One evening, as she walked home with her father, they passed by the crossing. When May lifted her phone, the camera picked up the image of a child standing in the middle of the road, someone who existed only on her screen. Her father calmly warned her to be careful and told her not to look at her phone in a place where cars passed by so often. Curious, young May asked if something had happened at that crossing. Her father replied that he had heard there was once a car accident there. May excitedly told him about the ghost her phone was capturing, a child standing in the crossing. She said the girl might have been the one who died there and that she was trying to communicate. She asked her father to perform the prayers he always did. Instead, her father looked straight into her eyes and told her that ghosts didn't exist. May had the ability to see spirits. That was why, 10 years later, when another accident happened right in front of her, her phone once again captured silhouettes, Mishi, whom she had seen as a child, and a new one beside her. Sahara, wearing a school jersey, the victim of the recent accident. May stared at her phone, trying to make sense of what she was seeing, when Kenta suddenly stopped her and grabbed her wrist. He told her that someone from his class had been involved in the accident. Kenta called her rotten and demanded that she hand over her phone so he could erase the photos she had taken. May slapped his hand away and snapped back, calling him a molester. Days later, as May was walking home with her friend, they spotted Chiaki and ran ahead of them. Her friend commented that the two looked like they were tormenting themselves, that whatever they were talking about must be serious. May, however, saw something completely different. Sahara's silhouette hovered, reaching toward Ren as if trying to pull her toward the crossing. Acting on instinct, May threw her phone onto the ground as a distraction. It worked. Another day on the school rooftop, it happened again. Sahara's silhouette stood nearby, watching Ren and Taku talk. May felt sick. No matter where she went, Sahara seemed to follow her. As she watched the scene unfold, irritation crept in. Everything felt so heavy, so gloomy. How long were they going to keep crying over a dead guy? At this rate, it felt like grief itself would end up killing them. That was why she had told them to shut up, why she had said such cruel things. But now that she really looked at him, Sahara's ghost didn't seem that sad at all. It wasn't like he was trying to drag others with him out of loneliness. Maybe the one he had been looking for all along was her. In the present day, May stood at the crossing, sipping from a juice box. She noticed Sahara standing in the middle of the road. At this point, she didn't care anymore if he planned to haunt her. He shouldn't underestimate the daughter of a spirit medium. She briefly wondered how much trouble the accident must have caused the truck driver. Then Kenta arrived with his club members, jogging up to the crossing as part of their morning training. That alone was enough to sour Mei's mood. Of all people, the last guy she wanted to see had shown up. Kenta was the soccer club's ace. While she was dealing with ghosts, he was out here running laps like nothing in the world mattered. What a carefree bastard. She muttered under her breath that if she ever got caught in an accident, she'd drag him down with her. Kenta glanced over, confused, clearly unsure what she was talking about. As they waited for the signal, Sahara suddenly charged toward her. Mei yelped, spat out her juice, and bolted, screaming at him to stop and leave her alone as he chased after her. Kenta and his teammates were left staring after her in shock, one of them asking what Kenta had possibly done to scare her like that. When Mei finally reached the school, she collapsed into her seat, gasping for breath, convinced she'd escaped. Her friend asked if she'd overslept, since she was late. Mei replied that she'd actually arrived 2 hours early. Her friend then mentioned that the teacher had noticed Mei skipped class yesterday. Mei told her to wait a second. It was hard to breathe. When Mei looked down, she froze. Sahara was crouched beneath her desk, staring straight up at her panties. She kicked the desk away with a shout, startling her friend. Mei yelled at Sahara to stop being a pervert. Of course, since Sahara was invisible to everyone else, her friend thought Mei was shouting at her. Mei stumbled backward and fell to the floor. At the same time, a box cutter slipped off a nearby desk and landed beside her, narrowly missing her. Her heart leapt into her throat. She thought Sahara was trying to kill her. Sahara frantically waved his hands, trying to explain that it was just a coincidence. Mei screamed for him to stop. Her friends grew increasingly worried as she continued acting strangely, while the rest of the class whispered among themselves, trying to figure out what was wrong with her. No matter where Mei went, Sahara was always there, chasing her. She knew this would happen after she interfered with their business. But if she had known Sahara would end up haunting someone he didn't even know, she would have left them alone. While running through the hallway, Mei collided with someone. They both fell hard to the floor. It was Taku. Startled and panicking, Mei punched him in the face. Before she could process what she'd done, a teacher called out to her. The teacher pointed out that Mei had left early the day before, and now she was skipping class again, only to end up bullying another student. Mei immediately apologized. The teacher sighed and said it was fine, then casually asked her about a theft that had happened earlier. At the mention of it, Taku's expression darkened, and he quickly scurried away. Apparently, a boy's school uniform had gone missing. The teacher warned the girls to be careful and suggested that they go home in pairs for the time being. Mei frowned and asked why everyone had to be so cautious over a single stolen uniform. The teacher hesitated before adding that the uniform had been found the day before, completely destroyed in the incinerator. The words sent a chill through Mei. A suspicion crept into her mind. She asked if the uniform had belonged to Sahara. The teacher avoided answering and instead told her that class was about to start. Mei was ordered to hurry back to her classroom. During class, Mei couldn't stop thinking about what the teacher had said. This didn't feel like a simple theft. It felt personal, like someone truly despised Sahara. When she glanced toward the door, she saw Sahara's silhouette peeking in from the hallway. What confused her most was how proper he was. He didn't do anything reckless while she was in class. A thought crept into Mei's mind. Maybe he couldn't let this go because she had once done exactly that, left it alone when she was a child. Guilt weighed on her. If she had helped that little girl back then, would Sahara still be alive? There was no way to know. Still, Mei decided that this time she wouldn't look away. She would listen to him. When class ended and students began heading home, Mei stopped in the middle of the hallway and waited. Sahara slowly approached her. She raised a hand and told him he didn't need to come any closer. Mei asked if he was the one who had stolen the uniform. He didn't speak, or maybe she just couldn't hear him. So she came up with a system. Tap his foot once for no, 2 taps for yes. She asked if he understood. Sahara tapped twice. She asked if he was the boy who had died in the recent accident. Sahara tapped twice. Was he following her because he wanted to kill her? Sahara tapped once. Relief washed over her. The bad feeling she'd been carrying wasn't about his death. It was about something else entirely. She asked if she wasn't his enemy. Sahara tapped twice. She asked if he need her help. Sahara tapped twice. May started to ask about the little girl who followed him, but changed her question. Instead, she asked if his death had really been an accident. Sahara tapped once. A chill ran down her spine. She swallowed hard and asked if he had been murdered. Sahara tapped twice. Fear flooded her chest. When she looked up, Sahara was grinning. That smile pushed her past her limit. She turned and ran. As she struggled to catch her breath, the pieces began to fall into place. If Sahara had been murdered, then the person responsible was still here, in this town. She thought about going to the police, but how could she explain this? A ghost telling her he was murdered. They would smile politely and send her away. Somewhere nearby, Taku heard her panicking as he rushed past. He grew nervous when he realized May was snooping around. He was guilty of something. Several months ago, Taku drew a manga about a flat-chested magical girl fighting a big-boobed villain. Of course, I'm not going to tell you all what happens because just looking at it is painful, but it's weird as fuck. The magical girl shoots lasers from her panties to defeat the villain. Sahara was also stunned by what he was reading. Taku asked how it was. If it was too boring. He tried to break it down, saying that the composition was half-hearted and the design was messed up. Taku continued yapping while Sahara was trying to form a word. Sahara looked directly at Taku and called him a genius, which caught Taku off guard. Sahara was amazed because it was the first time he had ever seen such a bad gag manga. Taku told him that it was a serious manga, though. Sahara stood up, wanting to show it to the other guys, but Taku stopped him, holding him down by the waist. Sahara assured him that when it comes to manga, you have to show it to people as soon as you finish. But Taku said that it wasn't at a level where he could show it to other people yet. Sahara told him that he couldn't run away from this since he drew such an amazing manga. Taku felt happy because he was complimented for the first time. Sahara then looked at the heroine girl and commented on how cute she was and how she kind of looked like Ren. Taku got flustered and told him that he used her as a reference. Ren then called out to him, asking why since she heard her name and cute at the same time. Sahara asked Taku if it was okay to show Ren the manga, since she would definitely be happy because she's the main character. Ren and the others got curious. Sahara added that Taku said he used Ren as the model. Taku got nervous as Ren looked at his manga. Her and the others' reactions were so bad that they still haunt him to this day. While the teacher was teaching at the front, Taku was drawing his manga. He got called out by the teacher and was asked if he was taking notes, since the information was important and he'd better remember it. Two girls looked at Taku, whispered among themselves, and laughed, which made him feel like shit. Taku told the teacher that he was taking notes, just summarizing them, and asked him to leave him alone. The teacher reluctantly said okay, while others started whispering about how disgusting his manners were. Ren looked at Taku worriedly. After school, while students were preparing to go home, some even getting ready to head to their respective clubs, Taku was walking mindlessly down the hallway, clutching his manuscripts. Suddenly, he heard a girl saying that things had felt unsettled lately, and that it was probably because of Sahara's accident. Taku didn't notice that he had collided with a girl, making her drop the things she was carrying. The girl told him to look in front of him while walking, but he continued on anyway, even stepping on the items she dropped. Taku kept walking away, so the girl called out to him, telling him to help clean up the mess. Taku didn't listen. The girl then grabbed his bag to stop him, which made Taku scream, "Don't touch me, 3D bitch." This caught the girl off guard, and the two of them immediately started arguing. The girl demanded to know who the real bitch was, but of course, Taku couldn't respond. Other students began to gather, whispering among themselves and asking what the fight was about. They recognized Taku as the guy who used to hang around Sahara and show him his manga, but all Taku could hear was Sahara's name. The girl got pissed and told Taku that it was enough. On top of drawing perverted manga at school, he was also hurting and pestering others. She said he'd been especially horrible lately and asked what he was trying to do. Taku tried to walk away like the little bitch he was. The girl told him to face her properly since he couldn't follow Sahara anymore. Someone grabbed Taku's arm, and he reflexively yanked it away. It turned out to be Ren, and he ended up hitting her, causing her to fall to the floor. Ren's friend immediately asked if she was okay and glared at Taku. Of course, Taku muttered that it wasn't his fault. Ren tried to save Taku by saying that Megumi should calm down, since Taku didn't do it on purpose, and that Sahara's accident was probably affecting him. Megumi just nodded and told Ren to cover her panties. The students watching started muttering references to the manga Taku drew 7 months ago, which made them laugh. They began teasing Ren about it. Taku tried to defend himself, but no one listened. Ren stood up and told them they shouldn't fight, but her panties were still showing because her skirt was messed up, which only made everyone laugh harder. Ren was so embarrassed she was about to cry. Meanwhile, Taku muttered that it was all Sahara's fault because he told him to show it. Taku felt sick to his stomach when Mei suddenly appeared, covering his mouth and asking if she could have him for a moment. Mei told Megumi that she had something she needed to ask Taku about, then started dragging him away, leaving everyone confused. Chiaki finally woke up. It seemed he'd been asleep the entire time. Mei dragged Taku to the back of the school, near the incinerator. Taku was muttering things even I couldn't understand, so Mei tried to break the ice and asked if he wasn't going to thank her or something, since she had just saved his ass. Taku didn't respond, so Mei sighed. She told him he could at least answer with an "uh-huh" or an "okay," and added that not everyone wanted to be on his level. That made Taku snap. He screamed at Mei, calling her noisy and a bitch. Mei, with the patience of a saint, told him she'd do it. She'd speak on his level as long as he agreed to actually have a conversation with her. Taku asked what she meant, so Mei crouched down in front of him to match his eye level and told him to just listen and not think she was weird. Of course, Taku, the complete degenerate, got distracted by her boobs and agreed. Mei then asked about Sahara's accident. Taku's face darkened, and he muttered that it was Sahara again. Mei told him to listen properly. She said she didn't know anyone close to Sahara, which was why she was asking Taku. She asked if Sahara had any grudges, if he'd been in fights, or if anything bad had happened to him at all. Taku's complexion went pale, and he started stuttering. Mei continued, saying that it wasn't that she doubted their friendship. She then pointed at the incinerator and told him that part of Sahara's uniform had been found there. This completely freaked Taku out. Mei went on, asking whether someone stole Sahara's uniform for some weird fetish, or if it was someone who hated him. It seemed like Mei had hit the nail on the head. From the way Taku was clutching his bag, she caught a glimpse of something inside it. Sahara's uniform was peeking out. Taku started muttering that he didn't kill Sahara over and over again. Mei found this pointless and stopped, saying it was weird of her to even bring this up. She added that she didn't think Taku looked like someone who would start a fight. As she turned to walk away, Taku suddenly lunged at her and pushed her to the ground. He wrapped his hands around her neck. Crying, Taku confessed to Mei that he killed Sahara. Mei struggled to breathe, begging Taku to stop, but he didn't. She fought back desperately and managed to overpower him, tearing his hands away from her neck. Realizing just how weak he actually was, Mei punched him square in the face, knocking him to the ground. Gasping for air, Mei caught her breath and told Taku to wait, but he lunged at her again. Mei kicked him away, but not before Taku managed to rip off her necktie. Lying on the ground, Taku clenched the tie in his hands and shouted that she was horrible. Even though she wasn't related to any of this, she was meddling for fun, not realizing that there were people who were genuinely hurt, that she was killing people's hearts without understanding it. Taku pulled out a cutter, which instantly terrified Mei. He went in for the stab, and Mei unconsciously shut her eyes. Taku kept stabbing wildly, screaming that the one who's joking is always the other person. He blamed Sahara for showing the manga to Ren, blamed everyone who whispered and talked badly about her. He said he wanted to kill everyone. All this time he was stabbing Mei's necktie, crying uncontrollably. Mei was confused by what he was saying, and Taku suddenly froze, confused himself. He asked why she wasn't dead yet. Mei smacked him on the head, calling him an idiot, knocking him to the ground again. Taku muttered that it was impossible. He was sure this worked on Sahara, that it definitely killed him. Mei told him it seemed like he was misunderstanding something. Taku pulled out a book titled The Dark Daimon's Magic World. According to it, the book taught how to curse detestable people and other things like that. Mei looked at it and told him it doesn't work. The book Taku was holding was written by Mei's scam artist of a father. She told Taku to calm down, but he kept yelling, calling her a bitch over and over. He wasn't calming down at all, so Mei decided to kiss him. Basically, what was happening was that Taku thought he killed Sahara through a curse by damaging his uniform. After a few seconds, Taku dropped to the floor in complete confusion, not understanding what had just happened. Mei wiped her lips with her arm and told Taku that since he kissed a bitch, he was a bitch too. The kiss was completely unnecessary, but Taku had always been a bitch and a coward anyway. Taku cried, saying his first kiss was supposed to be for Ren. Mei told him to calm down, handed him his glasses, and told him to be reasonable. She asked him to give her the cutter since it was dangerous. Realizing what he had just done, Taku apologized to Mei. She looked at him and told him flatly that he didn't kill Sahara. He wasn't the kind of person who could do something like that. He was too much of a weakling. Taku sniffled and insisted that he really did. He admitted that he had thoughts like, "I'll kill you," and "it'd be better if he died." Mei told him that he and Sahara were a perfect combination of someone bad at communicating and someone good at it. So it wasn't hard to imagine those kinds of thoughts crossing his mind. Wiping her mouth again, Mei asked if Sahara was really that bad of a guy for him to wish for his death. Taku replied that Sahara was a good guy. He got carried away easily, teased others a lot, and was popular. Mei asked if he was a good guy and popular, then why he wished he would die. Was he just jealous? Taku admitted that it might have been part of it. Mei then asked if someone's heart had been broken by Sahara. Taku suddenly remembered something. He told Mei that the one who was heartbroken wasn't him. When Mei asked who it was, Taku dodged the question and said he needed to go home. Before leaving, he said he would pay for the necktie, but Mei told him it was fine. Taku then added that he would take responsibility for the kiss, which pissed Mei off. She told him to go home before she actually killed him. Once Mei was alone, she wiped her mouth one last time before collapsing to the ground. She was shaking, terrified by what had just happened. Even though Taku wasn't the murderer, she was still scared. Mei called out for Sahara, telling him to stop putting on airs and to tell her immediately who the real culprit was. But Sahara didn't appear. Mei was furious. Sahara had only given her half the information, forcing her to snoop around on her own. It was dangerous, and it would stay dangerous until she became a ghost herself. She wondered if it would be okay to leave this alone, but the thought of letting a murderer walk free terrified her even more. Mei didn't know what to do. She couldn't talk to anyone about this. All she could do was curse her own eyes for being able to see ghosts. Meanwhile, Sahara woke up in the middle of the crossing, the first thing he saw being Mishi's face. He hadn't noticed that he had fallen asleep and was amazed that ghosts could sleep too. He asked Michi what would happen if he didn't sleep, but of course she didn't respond. Sahara cracked his back and muttered that the one who stole his uniform was Taku. He wondered why, because if Taku wanted it, he would have just given it to him. Sahara laughed and said maybe Taku liked him so much, but never said it. He understood, since back in elementary school, he used to mumble into the recorder of the girl he liked. Then Sahara realized it might not have been out of affection, since his uniform was tattered. He began to wonder why he was killed by his own childhood friend, and if even his best friend had the urge to kill him. Sahara asked himself if he had done something truly horrible. At school, Chiaki picked up the manuscript Taku had dropped on the ground and peeked at it, then tried to show it to Ren. Ren immediately told her not to show her that kind of book. Chiaki said that Taku might have dropped it and that he might be troubled, but Ren, visibly shaking, told her she didn't need it and asked Chiaki to throw it away. Chiaki looked at Ren worriedly. Back at the crossing, Sahara's classmates brought flowers again, which made him smile. Then they spotted Kenta and asked if he was going to visit Sahara, since Kenta had gotten along well with him. They mentioned how angry Kenta had been when the accident happened. Kenta only glanced at the flowers before stomping on them, shocking both Sahara and the others. The girls asked him what was wrong, but Kenta kept walking away. Sahara muttered that it was scary, somehow even scarier than when he died. Back when they were children, Sahara was always hanging around Taku, so Ren was always beating him up. Ren told Sahara that they were almost done with elementary school, so he needed to stop acting like a kid and bullying others. Sahara defended himself, saying it wasn't bullying and that they were just playing a little pro wrestling, but Ren told him that was exactly how he was bullying Taku. The other girls felt sorry for Sahara while feeling creeped out by Taku's existence, so Ren told them to shut up too, which earned her cold glares. Ren then started dragging Taku home, while Sahara ran after them, telling them to wait and let him play with Taku more because he wanted to try a cobra twist on him. The other girls started whispering that Ren was always with Taku. When the two finally got away, Taku thanked Ren, and Ren responded by headbutting him. Instead of feeling hurt, Taku felt happy about getting hit by Ren. Ren told him to stand up for himself more and asked if he didn't feel sad being bullied by so many people. Taku replied that they didn't really have a reason to bully him and that he thought Sahara was taking care of him and was a really kind person. Ren couldn't help but feel frustrated and told him that if it were her, she would definitely fight back and send all the bullies flying. Taku complimented Ren on how strong she was. Ren had always been stronger than Taku, and she thought that if she let herself get bullied instead of him, she could protect him properly. But all of that changed when they went to school early one day and saw the blackboard. Their names were written on it, shipping Ren with Taku, and on top of that, they had written "Gorilla Bitch." The other girls laughed as they watched Ren's reaction, bullying her relentlessly until she went quiet. She couldn't fight back. Later, 3 boys at the playground teased Ren and asked about her going out with Taku. Ren got angry and punched one of them. The boy got mad and told his 2 friends to grab her. They easily pushed Ren down and were about to beat her up. Meanwhile, Taku was hiding in the bushes, not knowing what to do. Ren tried to fight back, but she couldn't resist them. It was the first time she realized that boys were stronger, and she couldn't do anything. They just laughed and teased her, while Taku panicked. Ren started tearing up from the hopeless situation until Sahara arrived and asked them what they were doing. He called them out and pointed out that Ren was crying. The 3 boys made excuses, saying it was just a normal brawl, before quickly scurrying away. Sahara tried to ask if Ren was okay, but she coldly told him to get lost, saying that if people found them together, they would start saying they were dating and doing stuff. Sahara didn't leave. Instead, he tried to cheer her up, and when that didn't work, he sat beside her, asked why she was crying, and tried to comfort her. Ren finally woke up, having dreamed about the past. They had school today, so she immediately got up to prepare. While brushing her teeth, her mother told her that she slept too much and mentioned that Chiaki had come by the house. When Ren was about to head out, Chiaki was already outside waiting and greeted her. Chiaki pointed out that Ren had bed hair and that her ribbon was a little off. After Chiaki finished fixing it, she told Ren that she looked cute now. Ren just muttered that there were too many things to think about and that it was annoying to be a girl. Chiaki tried to ask what she meant, but Ren cut her off, thanked her, and said they should go. While walking to school, Kenta and the soccer club passed by them. Ren glanced at Kenta, and Chiaki mentioned that he only went to morning practice even though the tournament was close. She wondered why. Ren was surprised that Chiaki knew so much about the soccer club, but Chiaki explained that they were popular, so she happened to hear things. She also mentioned that back in their first year of elementary school, Sahara and Kenta played soccer together for a while, which was why she had taken a bit of interest in them. Ren was surprised to hear that Sahara played soccer, but Chiaki said he didn't do much and quit within the same year. Ren thought about how the Sahara she knew was kind of an idiot who got carried away easily, but when she was in a bad state, he always took care of her. Other than that, she realized she didn't really know much about him. Suddenly, Megumi came up and hugged Ren, saying she was happy Ren came to school today. She apologized about yesterday, saying that Taku had pissed her off, which was why she lashed out at him. She only realized afterward that people had started laughing and teasing Ren. Ren told her there was no need to worry, but Megumi still looked really concerned. Taku then arrived and Chiaki greeted him. He greeted her back while clutching his bag, and Megumi's expression soured again. She asked what he wanted now, getting irritated and saying she was sick of seeing his face these past few days. She even said she felt like stealing his glasses just so he wouldn't be able to see. Taku apologized for calling her a bitch, which caught Megumi off guard. She became embarrassed and apologized as well. Taku then looked at Ren, but Ren avoided his gaze. After they arrived at school, the girls were surprised to see that Taku had drawn another manga. This one was different from 7 months ago, when it had been a degenerate panty fest manga. This time, it was a wholesome animal manga. Taku had drawn it to show Ren, but she still declined, saying she wasn't good with lewd stuff. Chiaki told her it wasn't lewd and showed her the cover, but to Ren, it still looked lewd. Chiaki argued that cats with breasts weren't very lewd, but Ren, blushing, slammed her hand on the desk and said that cats weren't lewd, but questioned why it had to look so humanoid. Chiaki explained that it was just Taku's habit and that he always drew like that. Ren replied that Taku should have given it to someone who actually liked that kind of thing, and since she wasn't into it, he didn't need to give it to her. Chiaki said that even so, it was something Taku wanted Ren to read. Ren hesitated, and Chiaki added that Ren didn't have to force herself. She suggested putting it in her desk for now and returning it to Taku the next day. After school, when Chiaki was on her way home, she noticed Taku sitting by the river, so she decided to call out to him. Taku was shocked to see Chiaki there, and she asked if she could sit beside him. She sat down next to Taku. Taku then asked where Ren was, and Chiaki replied that Ren was on cleaning duty today, which was why they weren't together. After a bit of silence, Taku asked if Ren had read his manga. Chiaki told him that Ren didn't read it, which made Taku a little sad. But she added that she read it herself and actually liked the one he did before more. Taku thanked her and said that starting today, he would stop drawing manga. He opened up, saying that a lot had happened yesterday, and after calming down, he began to understand many things. Without knowing Ren's trauma, and with the manga being shown to her, Taku admitted that he really hurt her. He said he was only trying to show it to Sahara, but in the end, he was the one who wrote it, which was why he tried to blame everything on Sahara. Taku admitted that he was scared. The thought that he might hurt Ren terrified him. Even though he was at fault, he pretended to be the victim, and because of that, he decided to stop writing manga. Chiaki stopped him and handed Taku the restored manga he had written. She told him that his first manga saved her too. Chiaki explained that in her first year of elementary school, she liked magical girl anime and wanted to be a magical girl. Even though she was the villain in Taku's manga, it granted that wish. Taku was surprised to hear that Chiaki liked anime and enjoyed that kind of stuff. When he noticed Chiaki's expression, he stopped talking. Chiaki stood up and said that it was only during her first year of elementary school, then said goodbye because she had to go home. While Chiaki was walking up the stairs, Taku tried to stop her and thanked her for complimenting his manga. He told her that she was the one who saved him. What surprised Taku was that, for a brief moment, he saw Sahara and Mishi's silhouettes behind Chiaki, which confused him. Back in the classroom, after cleaning duty, Ren decided to give Taku's manga a try. It was weird as usual, so she couldn't really understand it until someone called out to her. It was May. May immediately assured Ren that she didn't come to badmouth her today, and that it wouldn't take long. She just wanted to ask some questions. Ren reluctantly agreed. She only wanted to ask about Taku. May explained to Ren that she just got curious because of the fight yesterday, and he was gross, but lately he was even more gross. She just wanted to ask if Taku's been fighting with anyone else like Ren or Sahara. Back at the riverside, Taku was lying on the ground. He had fallen down the stairs, and his head was bleeding.